Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm here with my weekly webcast. My name is Kamila Sultanova, as you can see, and I'm here with a special guest today, tireless, the most amazing, courageous, and very provoking at times, Sonya Lindfors. Hi, Sonya.
Hi. Hey, everybody.
Yes, and good to have you here. And now that we just try to get people to join us, I want you to all have a glass of water or whatever you want to drink. So you're very welcome in our little socializing studio in this physical distancing reality, which is still ongoing. And the reason to start these webcasts was really figuring out my way as a speaker and the person who's always out there at events, how to be useful, how to stay valuable and be connected to people like you, to get reconnected to people who really matter to me. And there's also to recognize the importance and power of communities that we have today, that nobody is alone, even though we're sitting here in four walls. And so hoping that with these 10 webcasts that I'm set out to, is to recognize the visible and invisible community leaders we have around us, around the Nordics, and to question what is it we want from each other, how we treat each other at workplaces, how to make inclusion more cool, more popular, like the new normal, that feeling of togetherness and that resilience that I can get from you, Sonya, and you can get from me. We can make it so ubiquitous after coronavirus, and there's no space for this exclusion, which is, I know, can be happening. I know historically it's been happening after the crisis. But once again, I want to welcome you all, feel the presence. And Sonya and I, we're going to discuss very interesting things, of course, from the side of choreography, where Sonya has her expertise, but also to really connect to our community, our presence, make collective sense making here right now during half an hour, so that you create yourself, you think creatively, but also think about your job, because a lot of jobs are right now under threat. We might have to really look at our competencies, our skills in a different way. And being immigrant myself is also interesting, like how we all find belonging. And I think there's no better person to think as to speak to you, Sonya.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so, Sonya, we haven't actually met yet.
Yes, not physically,
but we've been in touch for so many years. I think it was in 2016 already that I heard you speak for the first time, and I was like, now that woman, she makes me feel stronger and also push stronger and demand more. So thank you very much. And we've been looking to also be part of your Urban APA. So Sonya Lindfors, you are an expert, you're a choreographer, you're artistic director, and a founding member of Urban APA, which is interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary arts community, which is mobile, it's nomadic, and you do everything from visual arts, choreography, performance, you name it. And the reason why I have you here is because you put so much, as a cultural activist, you put diversity inclusion in everything that you do. And I think it's very brave, and not many people are able to do that, because everything becomes political. And how you do it, and what is it now how do you find coronavirus pandemic through the arts lenses, and what could be your wishes and ideas to all of us, because we long for artists. So welcome, and
thank you once more. And it's good to be here. I really appreciate this ongoing dialogue that you're trying to have with different people during this time. So that's really nice as well. So yeah, hello everybody. Like Kamila said, I work with art and life, or it's really funny sometimes, I'm trying to explain all the things that we're doing. It's too much art and life. So a lot of different things, but everything involved with community, empowerment, equality, diversity, and joy. Joy is also super important. Yeah. So we were a little bit kind of discussing that it would be nice to start with a small imagination task, since we are in the practice of art. So there was a really interesting horrible meme that was circulating, that was just saying that what if there would be no art? What would your quarantine look like? So I'm now also trying to invite you to imagine with me. You can even close your eyes if you want to.
Okay, so we close our eyes.
You can close your eyes and you can imagine being now at home or staying or being confined at your home. And
Okay, I'll close my eyes now. I hope that the system drives here. Okay.
Your eyes and imagine that you would not have music, dance, books, poetry, movies, games. What would your life look like? Or how would it feel like? You can take a few breaths if you want to, just deep breaths. And yay, thank you. So you can open your eyes now.
Okay.
So how did you feel? What kind of image that brought to your mind?
Wow, it felt so empty and scary.
Yep.
And please, whoever is watching, can you just write with few words, how did it feel if you did this exercise? If you didn't, just imagine and share with us your thoughts. How was it to live without art around you?
And maybe the point of this exercise was to like bring focus to how meaningful art is actually, and especially in these times, because art brings us hope, art brings joy. Like art can bring us together, and art. There's like a lot of research about how art actually increases empathy towards each other and towards other people.
Right.
So in these times, art can also bring us somewhere else. Art can make us forget, but art can also make us remember. So we need this. We need this. So not to forget that we need art, but art also need us, and artists also need us right now. So we need each other.
That's right. So that's the name of our episode is to how to empower an artist in and around you. I think that was a nice connection there, Sonya. So tell us, how are you coping with this situation at this moment with the coronavirus pandemic, and which communities are you part of and maybe reconnected to?
Yeah, so personally, I'm coping quite okay. I had a lot of things canceled as well, but I'm on a practice grant, so like thanks to Finnish government, so I will be okay, like financially. But of course, there's a big loss. That, for example, we had to cancel a project that we had been working already for 2 years. So yeah, that's like a really big loss, not like a financial loss, but really like the losing of the time and the energy and work that we had to put into that. So that was quite sad.
Will it be postponed so that you can reconvene, or?
Well, actually, some things cannot be postponed because there's a lot of things that are shown in, for example, festivals or biennials or that kind of stuff. So then there's, for example, there might be already like the next year's episode or the next year's festival might be already booked. So some things cannot just be postponed, unfortunately. But then there's a lot of things that can be. And then I think all of the art field is now trying to figure out different ways to keep creating and keep making art in different ways, like virtual ways as well, or other formats. I think there's a lot of things happening also like behind the scenes that might then come up maybe during the summer or a bit later.
Right. And so how do you feel your other colleagues within the art field have been affected by it? We know from the news that everything is closed and canceled.
Yeah, I think artists have been struck really badly, especially freelancers, especially marginalized people with different backgrounds, people belonging to different marginalized groups, people working in precarious situations, freelancers, poor students. So I think it's like, for many people, it is a very, very tight situation. And of course, it's totally different. Us being based now in Finland, which is like a welfare state, like there's a lot of different things and options here that you can still get some kind of funding, even if you lose all your work. But in many other places, the situation is really, really horrible.
Yeah.
Of course, like I'm super concerned for my colleagues and friends and peers all over the world. And then because of that, I think we really need to come together and think, what can we do for each other? How could we help each other? How could we encourage each other in these times? not just pushing like somewhere, but really concretely, what can I do for somebody else?
Right. I had a chat in a group community called Better Together there with the World Culture Open, where we met in South Korea last year, and they're globally different art creators, they're workers, they're volunteers, they are social entrepreneurs. So a friend of mine from Philippines said that they have Singapore and Philippines, they made this website, ilostmygig.sg, just to really push the focus on how vulnerable artists are. And it's incredible that we can't imagine our lives without books at hand, without arts, poets, music, dances, anything, and still that it really doesn't have the a proper income sources. And today is an International Day of Dance, and I want to congratulate you with a professional day.
Well,
I'm sorry.
To everybody else as well. Anybody can be a dancer.
Anyone can be a dancer, exactly. And it's been a dream of mine to be, but it was not really a career I could even think about, or discussing with parents and stuff. So I find this is an absurd that we have to really follow somebody else's image of what a good job is. So if you really like to dance, I think you can really say that you can make a beautiful living, and it's a purpose-driven work as well.
Yeah.
And so has there been any support for artists in Finland, like similar to this I Lost My Gig, to bring in the focus?
There has been some, I would say, quite a lot of media coverage. So there has been a lot of articles about artists losing their jobs when festivals are postponed or canceled. All the art institutions are closed, so immediately there is no kind of workplaces available. The museums are closed as well. There has been some state funds that have been kind of given to artists, or the artists can apply. But like we said, we're talking about a little bit earlier, it's very hard to get those, so you don't get it immediately. So you have to apply still for it. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of small initiatives. I was just the other day watching things on, it's a website called Quarantine Theater, Karanteeniteatteri, which is kind of collective different kind of streams, online theater, whatnot, improv theater and so on. So there's a lot of things that are trying to kind of collect things. And I think also the information, for example, the Dance Information Center is collecting different things that you can see online. For example, dance performances that are or more.
Right, and something with the Finnish broadcasting studio, like on Yle.
Yle is broadcasting. Yle has at least 2 platforms. There's Yle Olohuone and then Yle Perjantai, or something like that. And they're kind of live streaming, but it's mostly music. So that's also something I want to just put out there. Music is maybe easier and more you can put it online, you can stream it or Instagram it, but how could we help also visual arts, dance, theater? Also, I think for example, books, this is a great time. There's a lot of people are reading probably more than in long times. People are there was an article about the consumption of podcasts and kind of the books that has risen. So there's a lot of, I think this is a good time for us to be writers or poets or so on.
Yeah, and inspire others to focus on personal development, learn something new. Yeah. That's right. And so if we look at the basically with our topic, so the empowerment part, that yes, I think everyone would love to have this extra X factor skill in him or her, and what is it that fascinating by artists is, it's power, it's courage in all its form, it's being unapologetic about your message, and that it's whatever you choose, choreography, you choose drawings, you choose poetry, songs. So can you actually name what are the top 3 skills of artists that we also long for, and it's hard to describe?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this a little bit before, because actually I think there's a lot of different skill sets that you can with what you can enter the art field. So I know artists that might be shy, might be introvert, might be so very kind of different kinds of artists. But then I have 3 kind of tips maybe. So one would be know yourself.
Yeah.
So ask yourself, what is it that you really want to do? Do you really want to do this? Is this your desire, or is this somebody else's desire? And also, like, does it bring you joy? Does it make you excited? Like, are you in the right track? And try to be honest with yourself, because like wanting to be famous is a different thing than wanting to be an artist. Sometimes the 2 go together, but not always.
Yeah.
So tip, know yourself.
Okay.
Second tip, be ready to work. Being an artist is a lot of work, and it is a long time commitment. So it does not happen overnight. Like, I know so many artists that have started in the age of 4 or 5, so been doing it all their lives. So you need to like put hours into it.
Okay.
And don't give up easily. So be ready to work. Then the third one is understand and get to know your context. So, for example, if we're based in Finland, what I would do here is I would research. I would get to know what institutions are doing, what are the who are the artists that are making interesting work, and trying to understand what could my place be in this kind of context.
Right.
So that's like a really important skill as well, to understand. And then maybe the fourth one, just have fun.
That's right.
Don't forget to have fun.
Underline, have fun. That's right. It's actually interesting what you say. These are the same qualities that we repeat over and over again, also from previous webcasts that I had. So even to build a community, you also need to know what kind of interest you have, so that you really deal with people, like-minded people around you, so that's where you get this reciprocal feeling, you help and then get helped. And then also, of course, hard work never goes out of fashion in any context, artistic or professional, or, nonprofit, political sphere. And understanding the context is this forever sounding importance of relevancy. Be relevant in your context. So when I think of these skills, is that there's a lot of different people listening to us. So by the way, whoever is listening, please ask questions to Sonya. I don't get to talk to Sonya so often, so it's your unique chance to speak to this heavyweight. Sonya is crazy. It's in a good way. So please, whatever is on your mind, it's a rare chance to speak to people who are usually busy doing the creative stuff, and doing creative stuff is super tough to align stakeholders, just like you do across different sectors, and just to be resourceful. I mean, again, so why I say that to you, I ask this to you, Sonya, is a lot of people right now, they can't find job within their field, either because they have an immigrant background, either they don't have the perfect Finnish, or either whatever reason, so that you come here, you move here with a profession, and you can't just land the job you want. So what could be the way to see, because I believe artists are very resourceful. You really need to manage with so scarce resources at some point that it's just like, okay, hats off. Do you have any ideas, like how can this help, these different understanding of an artist? What can other people do to make sure that their skills are relevant in a total different sphere?
Well, I think at least what artists have is resilience and the ability to adapt to different situation. And I think also like this playful, like having this playful, joyful energy, like helps. Like, oh, and this curiosity, like, hey, let me go there, let me learn this, like, let me do that. And then at least for me, because like the work of a choreographer is a hybrid job. So you sometimes maybe people imagine, like when I say choreographer, they're like, oh, somebody that does movements to music, like something like that. But actually, like a choreographer is also like a project manager, the director, the janitor, the coach, the therapist. Like you have to do everything. So learning to do, so even though my passion is really like in movement, rhythm, and the stage, and how people connect with each other, that's really like where my kind of engagement and energy is. I still have to do all this facilitating work in order to make that happen. So I'm not ready to like learn. So I've had to learn how to make websites or like whatever in order to make art. So, and I feel that many artists have the same skill. So they are just ready to do the work, like they're resilient and they're used to like work in very different kind of conditions, very unorthodox situations as well. So I'm always like happy to work with artists. I feel they're so devoted and so kind of like really putting the work there as well.
Yeah, I read one magazine. I used to work in shipping companies, so there was this magazine by Shell, oil company, and one person, he had a Danish background. He said that he used to play drums, and he changed his career to financial sector. I mean, working for Shell in financial department, and he used that skills, which he calls it transversal skills, like it's organizational skills.
Yeah.
It's how you say, being in hybrid, that you do all these skills, the traits that you basically use in another sphere as well. It's being the rhythm that he needs to find is also being a good team player, right? That he just doesn't play drums by himself. Yeah. So I think it's a great way to put it out there that, okay, if you can't get a communication job, what can you do otherwise? If you can't be an accountant, can you actually turn to the other side and then still follow your passion? I think my personal path was different. I couldn't work in communications, so I went to logistics, but then it took me 10 years and now I'm still in my field at the moment. So it's a freedom to work in your own field is a long journey, but I think we can all be resilient and get there.
Yeah.
So how can others empower an artist within them? How could you, if you could walk us through this?
Well, I think it could be actually quite simple because I believe everybody is creative. Everybody has that in them. And I think sometimes the society can be really harsh at kind of like downplaying that side. Like, like I know so many people that have this experience for example, they're like preschool or something like music classes where the teacher was saying that, hey, you are not good at singing, stop. And that. Like, I think it can be very small things. When you wake up, you can put on your favorite song and just dance and enjoy that movement as well. So enjoy your body moving. And I think it's a lot also about just like forget being shameful somehow.
Yes.
The other things as well, just take a notebook instead of opening up the TV, just maybe taking up a notebook and a pen and just letting the pen kind of lead you. So writing whatever comes to your mind. So I think often like to invite this creative side in ourselves, we need time for that. So you really allocate time, and it doesn't come in a hurry. Like, hey, I have 5 minutes now. Let me be like super creative and come up with something new. But you need like time and like softly invite yourself into it. But yeah, so it can be really small also, and just playing or jamming with somebody else in your family, like your kid or your sister, or just having this fun and joyous time. I think this is kind of like empowering and say to yourself that, of course I can dance. Of course I can be in the shower as loud as I want to. And like I
know that sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a human being. I am creative, even in these things. And when other ways of creativity is blocked, then the creativity finds another maybe it's like by cooking a wonderful, like delicious, like 4-dish meal.
So if you have in the community, so could you give examples? You say you work a lot about community building, and I know you're very much supportive of people, let's say, groups of minority backgrounds, whatever. Tell us just how you empower your community with this, basically life skills, right?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things. It's about it's also a lot about one-on-one contact. So checking up to people and then bringing people together, just like reassuring that, hey, you're on the right path. So I think it's also like community building is also a lot about being a good human being. So like giving energy, sharing what you got. Do you have resources? Do you have time? Do you have some skill that somebody else could need? Do you have access to institutions? Do you know people? How can you share that? Like, hey, I'm talking to somebody else. Hey, I know Camilla. Hey, Camilla is great. And this, so really trying to do that connection.
But what if the people feel that you're not wanted? Sometimes that idea, right? That is okay. they don't reply my mails. Do I take it personally? How do you like bring on to be that consistently kind? I think that's a really skill today, because we're so short. Attention span is so short, and like, oh no, she didn't reply, or he didn't reply, I don't want to deal with that. So that, that you are large. I think in Finland there is that largeness. But how can we turn that into, say, okay, community building takes patience?
It takes, we need to be kind of soft towards each other and ourselves as well. So for example, in these times, I know many people are super tired, so people will not be responding immediately. But like, also be like, okay, maybe this is not personal. Maybe this situation is what it is, and people are exhausted. People have kids at home. Like, people are trying to juggle multiple things at the same time. So that's all. Like, I'm thinking, like, also for me, it is this trying to like spread this energy of softness and joy and understanding that we are different. We're all different. So even though we would be spending like, 2 years talking like this every day, I will still never know what is it like to be you. I don't know your history. I don't know your urgencies and your struggles. So I'm always assuming that I don't actually know all the things that this person is going through. So I approach people with softness and that there has to be always a space for negotiation. And I think this also comes from this like dancing and choreography. When you're dancing with somebody else, you're really trying to listen what the other is trying to do, and then there's like this call and response kind of thing that's happening.
So to empower an artist within you, if I get that right, Sonya, it's to be shameless, right? So there is no shame towards you if you want to be as a little artist inside you and embracing it, that you are able to be joyful and playful. I like that. I think it's great that it's so liberating instead of being contained. Like I say it in a container. Nobody can be creative and like burst with joy if it's put in a box. And the third is what you say is to being soft to you and others. Others. Do you have something else? What is so empowering that would be needed right now to our listeners?
Well, I think that was like, those things are already good, but like just to like check on each other, just like it can be really small things as well.
But this is quite the stuff you say, okay, checking on each other is great. It's inherent of us, but something that, what do artists do differently from normal us people?
Well, I think also like, I don't know if this is like a tip, but what I'm just thinking is also like the surprise and the small miracles of life that happen all the time. Like, I have a friend with a small child, and the child is learning new things, and that like, wow, like, oh, like, isn't life amazing? Like, okay, in this situation still, like it's horrible and devastating and painful and scary in many ways, but the sun is shining and the birds, and hey, let me move, and I can still move. And there's like, so it's also like embracing the small, I would say, miracles in life. I have a very kind of a nice story about this. Like, I was teaching one dance class, and there was an elderly person there that just like we were doing an exercise, and then they rolled on the floor, and then they started crying because they couldn't remember the last time they had rolled on the floor, because like the society socializes us like as adults, like, hey, we cannot do such things, like we cannot roll on the floor because it's not professional, because it's not adult, because it's not like you can't be serious if you're rolling on the floor. So how to like I don't know, like the body is so magical in so many ways, and we're so magical. So how to just embrace that
and unlock that within. I think, I feel quite happy person because I realized that I can have that and allow myself to be either childish or just really allow emotions that are so otherwise not invited in the room.
And that's a huge energy. That's a huge energy that you're unlocking when you're not blocking all the time. Oh, I can't. Ooh, let me be like, ooh, oh, who is thinking of what? Hey, oh my God, was I too this? Was I too that? Hey, I cannot, like, just go.
Yeah, just imagine these shipping companies or these insurance companies. I'm not trying to judge anyone. Just think there is so much of containment of emotions and feelings. So that's why I inspire people to be engaged, because when we are engaged, we are so much more prone to challenge, not like prone to difficulties, but we're not prone. How to say it? We stand challenges and can be more resilient. So if we now move to empowering artists, so how and why we need to empower artists? You think people are like, yeah, I need to save myself, my job is at risk. How does that matter in the community? Could you tell us a few words? We all understand that without artists cannot be community feeling.
Okay.
But why we need and how we could empower artists around us?
But I'm just coming back to this, that we need each other, and everybody needs each other. So everybody is important, but then we have to think about who are really in fragile positions. So that I'm kind of coming back to this. And we need art. If we're consuming art, if we're you're reading, you're listening to music, you're watching movies, how can we give back to those who are making it? So of course it's really concrete, like we were talking a little bit earlier about the SISU market. So that's one initiative. There's a lot of initiatives as well, that maybe you can purchase something like a service or a ticket or a dance class or like a picture. You can maybe purchase something from an artist that you like and you want to support, or you can share people's Instagram or social media or web page. But of course, also you can donate, because exposure is great, but it will not pay the rent and it will not bring food to the table. So if you can afford it, you can there's several initiatives where you can donate or help freelancers or artists or something else. And then maybe in the bigger picture, how can we also keep going this public discussion about the meaning of art? What is the role of an artist, and what is the role of creativity in our culture, and where is space, and what does this situation reveal to us? So also understanding that.
Right. We spoke about that. Working with diversity inclusion, it's a very deep-seated issue, and right now with coronavirus we have one enemy. So all these deep-seated issues, they go even more deeper, but it's also showing that arts can really question these things at this moment. So and if you look at social media experts, they say people are now at home, they're watching, they're listening, and we can question what we demand from whatever societal functions, from artists, from NGOs, from companies. That diversity inclusion, leading with diversity inclusion is innovative. Leading with diversity inclusion, you were saying, it is quality. So that we question, if it's not inclusive, it's not of good quality.
Exactly.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, well, basically also I'm going to promote a little bit, in a week we will have a discursive platform called Stop Hatred Now, which is an anti-racist and intercultural platform. It is free. You can click to it online, and the theme is new standards. And exactly how you said, the claim is that we need new standards, so that the standard, the good, the quality includes diversity and equality. So it cannot be of good quality if it's not equal, if it's not diverse.
So what do you invite the listeners to do with this initiative?
No, I'm just inviting everybody to think about this. Use this time and energy. If you have some power, if there's some if you're working in an organization, is there space to rethink who is there and who is not there? Is it accessible? If it's not, why? How could you diversify your workplace? How could we use this moment to really think, read, listen to things, people, experts online, and take those tools back to our own context, our own communities, our own workplaces, and try to really push for change.
So, for example, if we find, let's say, something that is not up to the standards. Let's say it's not inclusive, diverse. You can call out on things and email the company, you email the service or producer or whatever, right? That you question things, so you don't just say, oh well, wasn't good enough, and then you put that aside. Instead, you empower artists by questioning.
Yeah.
Right, because everything, or even whatever within your field. Like I had this book when I went to Finnish classes 3 years ago. So this book called Suomen Mestari, and you read a text, and it says, okay, the wife is always at the kitchen, and the man is watching a TV. Or a husband who is foreigner, he is unemployed and he's looking for a job while wife is at work, which is Finnish spouse. So, it's like really crazy that to think that, okay, I thought we were past those stereotypes, and I could invite myself right now and write to the publisher and say, please change that text, because that's not inclusive enough. And it is promoting stereotypes instead of breaking them. So
there's a lot of, like, exactly like you said, like concrete things that could be done. For example, in order to diversify recruitment, like you need in Finland, that seems to always be the problem. Like, oh, you don't speak Finnish. Oh, we don't have translations of these things. Like, hey, this could be a great time, like, to provide translations, to write your things also in English. So then that would not be like a problem to just invite people, like recruit people from diverse backgrounds. So that could be one thing as well. Or like for curators, like programmers, artistic directors, like whoever, to like now do research. Who is there? Like, and who is there? Who is making art? Who is making what from different backgrounds? Like get to know these people that exist also in the so-called white Finland. There's a lot of people that come from diverse backgrounds already here, and there's a lot of talent that doesn't get showcased. So this could be a great time to like just get familiar with that as well.
Right. And if you are an international artist, non-Finnish international artist, there's a great community I know, Globe Art Point, JAP, G the AP, and a good contact, Cheda, she's running that, and I think they're very responsive in these times, in these exceptional times. They're inviting to lots of webinars so that you can find resources and to look up for each other in that sense. So in conclusion, again, I wonder, artists make things which include you. They can provoke things. You can question things. You can help us dream about better futures. What is the future for people who, again, they don't feel they can make it here, and to really push on and finding first the belonging, but then also the dream job or the job that they feel that they can do, so that can you push this extra motivation that we could give to our listeners? Also, young people who are stuck, maybe they can't get past their internship.
Yeah, but you know what? Like the world is already changing, and the world is changing all the time. Like in Finland, there's already like a new generation, a young generation of like people from all different backgrounds. So change is inevitable. So don't worry. Just like get on board and like keep working with whatever you're working. Like be persistent. Ask for help. Like don't be alone. So ask for help, and just like you are also the ones, or we are the ones also that will create the future. So we can create a better future together.
That's right. Yeah, I like that. As an artist, I did my first gig. I don't know if it's the only one, but the street art we did about future Finland of 2050, where we took 50 portraits of young boys and girls across Finnish schools, and we aligned them into this Inside Out Helsinki project in downtown. And it was about, meeting Finland, diverse Finland future together. And the pictures look like youth from Brooklyn or somewhere from the US, which is much more diverse. It was already real. Yeah, and Finland, at least in Helsinki, I know by 2025, the diversity of the city is going to be 25%, where people are going to speak another language than Finnish as a mother tongue. So I'm quite hopeful because, of course, the representation matters, but also the way we address in different mediums. And I do believe that through your work in choreography, through production, and also that we have Jessie here. Jessie's mainly, she's a coach and doing lots of women's circles, that we basically build up ourselves from inside so that we go away from this, what do you call it, victim card, you know, oh, I should be served. I think everyone should be able to serve each other. And that's my point with community and rising in unity together. Okay. So what is your last message to us? Say, what, like as a Oneliner, if you have
yeah, let's come together and work together towards like a better, hopeful future. And like, there's always hope. There's always hope. Right. So I truly believe in this.
Beautiful. Let's come together and work together. I like that. And I want to read some messages here that came to us. Jessie says, there's so many people, diverse backgrounds, doing such important jobs in Finland and enriching the culture. So yes, thank you, Jessie. We are making the culture if we are also part of it. And I think we can't be just passive. Marina Danayan, nice to have you with us again. Creating better future together. I like and definitely support this. Thank you. Thank you, Marina. And I love your Armenian Center. I love the concerts and what you do there. And then she says, regardless of specialization, the field we work in, everything is completely complementary and interlinked.
Exactly.
Can't disagree with that. So thank you, Marina. She says, inspiring talk. Thanks, Camilla and Sonya. We thank you as well for listening. And this talk will be available on YouTube later. So again, embracing the artist within you, as Sonya says, it's to be joyful, be shameless, and to also be that soft to you and others. And the fourth one you said at the end was really nice, to recognize the miracles and actually say it, that right. It's a miracle. I think we're not used to do it, especially in the Nordics, that we're so below the middle. Right. So, and empowering artists around us, yes, is to keep the future colorful, to be, what is it, Sonya?
Yeah, joyful and diverse.
And diverse, yeah. Let's do that. Thank you, Sonya, for joining. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Cheers. Bye-bye.